Welcome to Let's Talk Brock.
Welcome to this episode of Let's Talk Brock podcast. Today we're joined with Aishah Sonekan, a third-year psychology co-op student with a minor in business. Aishah has numerous experiences with clubs and on-campus jobs. She's one of Brock University's Student Union Board of Directors, a Brock International Student Ambassador, a member of Brock's President's Advisory Committee on Human Rights, Equity, and Decolonization, the former president of Leaders at Brock, and a current resident Don, to name a few. Aishah also won the Resident Life Conference case study competition this past November. She truly has a lot of insights and stories to share with us about her journey at Brock University. So thank you so much for joining us today, Aishah.
Thank you for having me, Amanda.
So we're just gonna jump right into it and just get started with some questions. So our first question is, thinking back to when you were applying to university, why did you choose Brock?
Okay, so the funny story I tell everyone is I chose Brock because it was in the warmest part of Canada when I thought St. Catharines was the warmest part of Canada. But a big part of it was the support being offered at Brock, the fact that Brock had a welcoming, mid-sized, diverse community, knowing that I wouldn't feel so lost in such a large space, but it was a big enough space to challenge me was very good. There was also their reputation in student engagement as someone who we love, who loves being involved and getting engaged on campus, off campus. It was really nice to know that that would be available for me, as well as being a psychology student and knowing that they really dedicated a lot of resources into mental health support. Those are some of the things that led me here. The ability to take a co-op program in psychology and also do a minor, which wasn't offered in a lot of universities when I was starting my university journey, was also something that led me here.
Wow. Canada is quite cold, but
Yes.
it does get warmer in the summer, so perfect. Great answer. So jumping to our next question is, you've been a residence Don for quite some time now. So what's your favorite part about being a residence Don, and like what kind of responsibilities do you have as well?
I think my favorite part of being a residence Don are the relationships that I get to develop, whether it's with the students in my community or with the fellow residence Dons. I've been a Don for 2 years now, and I'm going to be a head resident in the next upcoming years. So it's definitely the friendships that I gain because they've become a significant part of my university experience. And the Brock residence management team is also very encouraging in having residents Don practice that balance of student staff self, because we have a unique situation where we live, where we work. So aside from the relationship that you develop, you get to learn a lot of time management and also looking out for yourself and taking care of yourself. And the support that's being provided while you navigate all the various situations that you deal with makes it all worth it at the end of the year. Yeah.
Perfect. And I remember when I was on res, my Dawn, like the best, like they have that support system, they have that mentor. So really awesome that you're enjoying being a Dawn here. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Jumping to the next one is, how did you participate in the Residence Life Conference case study competition, and what was the process like, and how did it feel being named winner?
Well, the Residence Life Conference is run by an organization called OACUHO, which is basically the Ontario Housing or Residence Organization. And it's a 3-day conference for student staff across Ontario universities where we get to share ideas, develop presentation skills, make connections, and just learn more about being in that field of residence life. I was selected as a presenter to represent Brock University, the Brock University residence team last year. And I also then had the opportunity to volunteer in the case study competition. So the general idea for the case study competition is you're randomly assigned another partner with a student from another university and Ontario University's residence team. Upon arrival at the conference, you get assigned your case study. Everyone is assigned just generally the same case study, and you're to work together to propose a solution. So whether that's just writing down notes on a little paper or making a PowerPoint presentation, situation, your preferred method of delivery didn't really change anything. It was more, how did you approach the situation? Um, Coming together, working with my partner to be able to think of the situation that we had, it was really nice to know that the training, intensive training that we receive at Brock as residents John was very helpful because it helped to shape how we approached it. And getting named the winner and being announced that we won was very, very exhilarating because it was unexpected. We just, gave it our best and we had our fingers crossed, but it was good to know that the training that Brock provides for residents Dons being very much multifaceted and a lot of approaches coming with it was very helpful in the process. So it was very satisfying and fulfilling to be named the winner.
Awesome. What did you win?
I have a certificate. I don't have it with me, but we got a certificate that's all fancy
Cool.
and signed. Yeah.
Good. Awesome. So perfect. So next one is, can you explain Pack Red at Brock and what responsibilities you hold as a committee member?
Yes, for sure. So, like you mentioned earlier, PACRED is the President's Advisory Committee on Human Rights, Equity, and Decolonization at Brock. It's a group of people, so it's varying factors of the university. So, students, we have staff, we have some organization at Brock, so whether that's Brock HRE or BUSU, all of these people that have a stake or that are shareholders or stakeholders in the community at Brock have a space on this committee, and they basically come together to go over what are the things that are existing or affecting the Brock community in terms of these focuses of the committee. And I chose to apply and nominate myself as a student representative or a student member for the committee this year, and I was happy that I got chosen. And I decided to dedicate my time to the Anti-Racism Committee, the Sexual Violence Prevention Committee, and the Anti-Ableism and Mental Health Committee. So as a committee member, you're responsible for joining the general PACRED meetings and then your subcommittee meetings, which are the ones that I mentioned just earlier on then. And then you basically work with your team to go over how each one of these sectors affect the Brock community. What are some solutions that you want to propose? What are some policies that you want to change? So things like what the Black History Month event lineup is looking like are things that have been discussed at PACRED, or thinking about a lot of the symposiums that have been held at Brock targeting or being able to provide support to students in the Iranian community, for example. Those are things that we had previously discussed on PACRED. So as a committee member, you're just looking at what the situation or the environment is like at Brock in terms of what the committee hopes to focus, advise the Brock president, or provide policies that can help make those parts of being a Brock community or being that inclusive, diverse community gets better.
Nice. That's something really special to be a part of as well at Brock. So really, really good. Um, so with all the many clubs and councils and jobs you have on campus, can you expand on your experience with leaders at Brock? And what was it like taking on such a significant role like president? Mhm.
Ooh, okay, so Leaders at Brock was created, I believe, January. I don't remember the exact date. I just know it was January 2020.
Okay.
And my decision to go ahead with creating that club was born out of the feeling of community that I gained. So this was during COVID, right at the peak of it, when everyone's taking online classes in their different spaces, on a screen, just like we are here. And we had just completed the Building Leaders program, which is run by Brock Student Life and Success, the Leadership Development Department. And that was the first cohort. It was about 15 to 20 of us. We'd attended 4 sessions over 4 weeks. So we'd come have discussions about various leadership topics. And afterwards, we'd briefly discuss having a need for a space that had continuous support, continuous conversation surrounding leadership, surrounding growth, and creating connections. And, I briefly mentioned, what if we made a club? And people were like, it sounds like a good idea, but we're not sure. So I'd worked with 1 or 2 people in the background, a few of my friends, and we decided to go along with it, did a little poll on what the name would be. Is it Leadership at Brock? Is it Brock Leaders? And we went with Leaders at Brock. Taking on the role as president was a very big task for me because not only did I have to learn the ins and outs of running a club at Brock, but also being able to ensure that the club was delivering what our mission and vision was, and that I was able to build those connections and deliver the things that people were coming into that space for. So whether that was being able to develop as a leader, or create teams, or create connections, or being able to grow and explore networks and opportunities that usually won't be available, a lot of that was the task, or were the tasks that I took on as president. So although it sounds like a fancy title, there's a lot that went into being able to sustain that club. And I'm happy to say that the club is still up and running. I believe they're having elections for executives. So that would also be a great space if anyone's looking to get involved, to start thinking of leadership and what that looks like for them at Brock.
Cool. Really. And you started during like the online, right? Like
Yes, I
during.
started it during the online pandemic year. We happened to win an award after our first year of running successfully. So we won the Leadership, Innovation, and Teamwork Award from the Brock Student Life and Success Department, which was a very important milestone for us, because we just started, we run for one semester, but it was good to know that we were making the impact that we'd set
Mhm.
out to make as a team. So I had members of my team such as Kavian Andalan, I had Ashley Giroux make our club logo, which is still standing. So people like that and having that support definitely made having the role of being president easier.
Great. And it's still running till now.
It is very much still running till now. Yes.
Really good. Perfect. So our next one is being on the board of directors for Brock University Student Union. How did you land this position, and what are some of your responsibilities being on such a big organization like BUSU?
Yes, this is definitely a big organization. It's a big part of what every student gets involved at on campus. So whether it's clubs like we just discussed, or getting involved in events like O Week and the concerts, um, being on the board of directors is a very big role that I happen to take seriously. So I'll go over the responsibilities and talk about how I got into the position. So board members in general are part of that process that reviews the legislation, finances, maybe student governance, human resources, legal decisions that relate to our student unions. So those are things that board members usually do. And in terms of BUSU, that's what I get to do as a board of directors. So we get to have monthly meetings, we discuss, we vote on topics. So whether that's student governance, whether that's how club policies should be reviewed, I'm there to essentially speak up about the needs of Brock students, some of the concerns that they have, the interests that they have, and be part of the important changes that we have. So, for example, the transition from electing student executives to hiring or selecting them through an application process was something that we undertook this year as board of directors. And I was very happy to be part of that process, because it definitely encourages a lot more accountability, a lot more systematic transparency in there. So that's what it looks like to be a board of directors. Obviously the tasks vary, but having those meetings and being able to decide on the bigger things, the bigger picture, is a very big part of this role. And you get to land this position or join this role by running for elections. So every February, I believe it is, Brock Busu runs the elections for board of directors. You get to be nominated, which means you need to gather support from people and get them to approve you as a candidate. And then you set up your campaign. You go through a lot of learning processes in that process of campaigning, and elections happen, and here we are. So that's how I became a BUSU board of directors. I believe elections are coming up soon. So if anyone's interested in making those bigger changes, that's something to also check out.
Perfect. What a huge role and important as well, especially at Brock. Perfect. So we're almost finished here. We have two more questions. So, um, being a Brock International Student Ambassador, what was your experience like thus far?
So, being a Brock International Student Ambassador is a very interesting role, as it not only helps to highlight your experience as an international student at Brock, but you also get to provide support for both incoming and present international students at Brock. There is the financial benefit of being able to have a scholarship. However, you get to have a space that helps you develop as a leader. So whether that's communication, whether that's confidence, whether that's being able to connect with people, because you do get to meet a lot of strangers that become friends and that you become a source of resource or support or information to. And that has been very satisfying and fulfilling so far. It's definitely exciting to plan the events sometimes and also to be part of memorable experiences for Brock students. So this past winter orientation, I was part of the ambassadors present to welcome students, whether that was exchange students or students starting in the winter semester. And we got to run campus tours for them, get them checked in, support them with checking into residents. And I had the very special opportunity of being part of one of their most memorable experiences I can only imagine, which was their first trip to Niagara Falls. So that was a very satisfying moment for me because it meant that I could directly impact how someone's journey at Brock began, how someone's journey as a Brock international student began. So being an international student ambassador provides you with that opportunity to impact people, to be a source of representation for people who share, whether that's the same nationality, ethnicity, to people who share that background with you so they can connect with you, so they can relate with you. And being an ambassador and being able to represent all that Brock has to offer is very satisfying in general because you get to learn a lot, but you also get to connect with a lot of people.
Mhm. So good. Yeah, especially coming from all around the world, you don't have anyone. So that's really good experience you have there. And finally, as a wrap, do you have any advice for students who want to get involved at Brock but need help figuring out where to start, considering you have so much experience only at third year as well, and with all the clubs and experiences you have? So any advice?
Um, I think I'll start with taking it one step at a time. Like you said, only a third year, but when you look at it, it's a long period of time. It's about 9 months in between each school year. Lots of time to, think about things and explore different things. I think taking it one step at a time and remembering to step out of your comfort zone. When you come in, there's a lot to figure out. Ask questions. People at Brock are always very much open to supporting you and providing resources. That's how I made that decision to be here. So taking it one step at a time, but also choosing to step out of your comfort zone, being brave. If you're an international student, it's something to remember because you're settling into a new environment, a new culture. If you're a domestic student, it's still a new environment to understand that transition from high school into university, or even just balancing work and clubs. There's a lot of things that you would learn as a university student as you go through Brock, but taking it one step at a time, asking questions, stepping out of your comfort zone. If you want to say hi to people and make friends, sometimes being the first to do that works out well. When you need help, if you have ideas and you don't know who to speak with, there's always someone willing to listen. So, not forgetting to explore the resources that are available or even explore the Niagara region. There's a lot to see, but taking it one step at a time and choosing to step out of your comfort zone would be a great place to start.
That's awesome, awesome advice. And I think a lot of people can take from that as well. So yeah. But that concludes our discussion and topics. Would you like to add anything else?
No, I think my final word would just be that it's not easy balancing it all, but if you're willing to be excited about it, if it's something that you love doing, it makes it easier to get involved in all these things and still enjoy being a student. So whatever questions you have, to reach out to me. I'm always open to asking questions. If you see me in the hallways, say hi. But I think just enjoy your time as a Brock student. Try
Mm,
something new. You never know where it can take you.
everyone, I love it. Perfect. So thank you so much for joining us today, Aisha, and sharing your experiences and journeys that that you've been at Brock University, being an all-around student. It was amazing hearing your stories and the many successes you've had along the way. You had a remarkable story, many experiences that I believe many students can take from, and I hope to hear from you soon. We hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you for having me, Amanda.
Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, you can contact us at brocku.ca/discover/contact.